Welcome to Business Line's State of the Economy podcast, where you'll find insight, analysis, and the story behind the numbers.
Hello, listeners. Welcome to Business Line's State of Economy podcast. We are up here with yet another episode. This time, it's on stubble burning. Stubble burning in North India has become a serious issue, with India's capital Delhi going under smog again this year. During the current World Cup cricket tournament, the issue hogged limelight as players of Sri Lanka and England found it tough to breathe. Various reasons have been put forth for the stubble burning by farmers in Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and even Madhya Pradesh. The Supreme Court has taken a serious view of the issue and has called for shifting farmers from paddy to other crops. The issue has drawn the attention of many organizations who are looking to solve the issue since it involves the people. Deloitte India is one such organization which has come forward to find a solution in Haryana. To tell us more about what it has done, we have with us Mr. Viral Thakker, partner and sustainability leader, Deloitte India. Welcome to Business Line's State of Economy podcast, sir.
First of all, thank you
To
so
start
much
with,
for
can you kindly
inviting
tell us
me on this
about what
podcast.
Deloitte has been
And it's
doing
a pleasure
to
to be
tackle the
here
stubble
with
burning
you.
issue?
Deloitte's role on the stubble burning program has been threefold. And actually, let me first provide some background before we go into the details. As you know, cropping seasons in North India involve Rabi and Kharif, two cycles. And there is a very short window between the two for the farmers to be able to complete the harvest and get the farms ready for the sowing of the next season. When there is unseasonal rain or additional rainfalls, sometimes they have to go through a second round of sowing, which puts further pressure. Now, we know that 40 to 45% of farmers are small and marginal, which means that the land holdings are 5 acres or less. In that scenario, given the anxiety that they have in clearing out the farm between this 20 to 30-day window, many of them don't have the ability to have access to the equipment, which is in situ and ex situ equipment. In situ means equipment that lets you mulch the stubble into the soil. And ex situ is where you cut the stubble, make it into bales, and take the bales away for use in downstream industries. Right? If you look at that cycle, that equipment is not cheap, right? It actually requires a bigger capacity tractor, a dual clutch tractor, and a hay rake, a rotary slasher, baler, etc. And these are expensive. Unfortunately, in the absence of a good solution that's predictable and that gives them the assurance that they'll be taken care of, they pretty much have no choice but to burn the stubble because they see that as an easy solution. Unfortunately, that stubble that's burned, obviously for those of us who are from Delhi, may see that as smoke and smog, which has an AQI impact. But there's a significant health impact as well. That health impact in 2021 was estimated to be almost 15 million disability adjusted life years. What that means is if an average person lived for 75 years in India, this effectively means that 2 lakh people are dying every year as a result of stubble burning in North India, right? Which is a significant number. And by the way, in addition to the direct health impact, there is also an increase in soil temperature, which reduces soil productivity, and the critical nutrients that the crop needs are also destroyed, which again further impacts the output of the soil. So that's the broad challenge that we see in North India. When you think about what that means and how do our farmers cope up with it, and what can we do to help mitigate and help support, there are several such areas. And we took up a pilot project in the state of Haryana, in Karnal district in 2021, where we met some 2,500 farmers, attempted to understand what are some of the challenges that they face. Importantly, try and understand what is it that we can do to assist. And we meaning, fellow citizens of the country. What is it that we could do to help mitigate this problem? So we identified several areas. One was just greater awareness. And we then went on the ground in 2022. We built a mobile application in multiple languages to essentially help farmers share equipment with each other. So think of it as like an Uber for farmers, where I need help and you have the equipment. Because an average farmer uses the equipment only for a few days, but through the season, it can be utilized by their neighbors and their friends across the village. So this allowed farmers to share equipment with each other. We directly supplied 15 sets from our side and supplied them to the district agriculture director's office to be used for the farmers. In addition to the 15 equipment we supplied, 52 additional equipment were made available by other farmers, right? As a result, we covered, and our pilot was in 6 villages, covering approximately 18,000 acres or so. And our equipment was directly used for about 21% of the fields. And at an aggregate level, for Karnal district, this showed a 70% reduction in stubble burning, which can directly be translated to saving of 2,400 lives. Now, this wasn't all. We also ran a very intense door-to-door campaign, meeting with farmers and meeting with panchayat leaders, etc. And this also then was important to further send the message out. And obviously, the government announced a scheme where they were able to suggest a price at which private sector could buy the stubble, because that stubble can be utilized by industrial boilers, by compressed biogas plants, or plants that convert stubble to ethanol, right? So basically, why let the stubble burn? Why not let it be converted to a fuel, which actually would help the country anyways? So the tagline we had was parali, which is the Hindi word for stubble, parali se jivali. So why not create livelihood out of the parali that gets generated? So that was the thinking in 2022, buoyed by the success of what was achieved in 2022. We also went back to the farmers, met the farmers who did not utilize the platform, tried to understand if they still chose to burn rather than utilize the equipment that was available. So several things were identified. We obviously needed more equipment, more farmers to come on board, and a more intense campaign door to door. This year, we have done 2-3 things differently. One is that there is in addition to Deloitte, we have other private sector companies that have joined us. So a couple of global banks, a couple of OEMs, so companies that make tractors and other equipment, a couple of infrastructure companies. So players in the ecosystem have come forward to come together. And by the way, throughout this process, we've been working very closely with officials at the state level and at the district level, because they obviously know their districts the most. This year, we were very ambitious. We have gone to 666 villages. These are the villages that are in the 9 districts in Haryana with the most number of fires. And across these 666 villages, we are covering roughly 150,000 farmers, so 150,000 farmers, and an area of 1.2 million acres that we are looking at. And then in terms of equipment, we supplied an additional 20 sets of equipment this year. But in addition to that, there are 3,000 overall balers and other equipment that are available, and a similar number of what are called lucky seeders, which is an in situ equipment. As a result, cumulatively, we are, as on today, comparing to where we were last year, for the 9 districts, we are 38% lower in terms of number of fires compared to last year. If you further look at the addressable population, which is the villages the 666 villages, the fires there are almost 58% lower than last year, right? So substantial impact, again, working very closely with other private sector companies and the state and district administration. And the theme this year has also introduced, WhatsApp-based support. So farmers don't have to use the app only. They can actually make a phone call. They can use IVR, or they can simply send a WhatsApp message. We found that farmers are very, very quick to use voice messages, right? So they record a quick voice message. So we've actually, utilized the chatbot technology. We've also used satellite-based images and using AI principles to try and identify which farm will be ready for harvest first, right? So if there are 10 farms in a given area, what is the sequence with which various farms will be ready? And we've looked at those as well, all with a view to say, can I identify and optimize the equipment more efficiently? So we've done that as well. And then finally, for a change and a communication campaign with farmers, we have utilized two animation-based films where we've created fictional characters. One is called, so there is a farmer that we've created called Parivartan Prakash. And, we've created children of this farmer, and happy to share the videos with you. One is called Pragati. So Pragati is the daughter and Prakash is the son. So basically, kids of the farmer, and implying that they should be doing this for their kids as much as they are doing this for themselves. So investing in a better future is the messaging. There's also an anthem that was created. We've also given them calendars, and t-shirts, etc., just to keep that message front and center in their minds. Another interesting product that came up was a mug for chai or coffee that is made from rice husk. So parali converted into a useful product, which has also further, given visibility and recall for the farmers. So that's been the extent of our effort. Again, the villages that we've been part of are the biggest villages with fires. We still have 15 more days of the season, and we are hoping that by the time the year ends, we will be in a very good spot. Oh, I wanted to mention one more thing. So through the platform, right? So how I mentioned that our coverage right now is 1.2 million acres, out of which 43% or almost 5 lakh acres where farmers have requested for help. And that's what we are covering through the platform. And these are requests that are already serviced or some that are already scheduled to be serviced in the coming days. So that's really the scope of what we are trying to achieve, with the help of a lot of folks who've been supportive and are out.
So this initiative is on behalf of the Haryana government, or how has Deloitte India gone about this program to really combat stubble burning?
So the initiative has been a Deloitte initiative. So we reached out to the Haryana government to partner with them. So it is pro bono from our side. We wanted to do something for the state. We ourselves have almost 10,000 people that work in the Gurugram area. And that's something that we thought we'd like to contribute because, as you know, Deloitte works with clients in some of the most complex problems. We have a very strong expertise in technology as well. And you know that Deloitte Digital is one of the leading agencies when it comes to digital content. So we thought, why not bring our own expertise together, working closely with the government to make a difference to the country.
And the other corporates have come on board as part of CSR activities?
Yes. So the way that's working is that for the door-to-door campaign, other companies are using their CSR funds and employing local youth to go door-to-door. So companies are coming forward to sponsor an entire district or two to spread the message. So the messaging is consistent because we are, the content has been developed centrally. Everybody goes through the same rigorous training, but then the door-to-door part is something that is being done across all villages.
Sir, I agree with your viewpoint that, Haryana has reported a far better compliance with regard to stubble burning, compared to, Uttar Pradesh or Punjab. And my colleague, Prabhudatta Mishra, who's our correspondent in Delhi, had visited all these areas in Haryana. One of the peculiar things that he said was farmers are complaining that, they don't have facility to transport the stubble to other places. Like, there are talks about, how we can use this as a biofuel or other things. One particular common thread that we came across was farmers are complaining of lack of infrastructure, or they are looking forward to companies to come and take it from their farm gate. So how would you address this issue?
This is actually a very fantastic question and a big conundrum as well. So the 2-3 things that we've done this year. Number one, we have tied up with. So we've actually helped obtain storage sites for various villages Why? Because again, just because you create bales of hay is not enough. They need to be moved off the farm. It's something that we've actually provided customized trolleys that carry the bales. But obviously, a lot more needs to be done. There was only so much funds that were available this year. But there are village level storage sites that help farmers store the stubble. We've also begun tying up with companies that utilize this stubble into their downstream processes. Like the example you mentioned, compressed biogas, etc. There is a bit of a balance between at what price point this becomes economical for the private sector. At the same time, how can the farmers benefit from the stubble? Government already provides some incentive for them to not burn stubble, etc. But how can we balance the two? It is something that is still it will become clearer in the next few months as we learn and adopt this. But you're right. There is a cost to transport the stubble from the farms to the companies that are going to use this as fuel in their downstream operations. So one example, for example, could be where there are compressed biogas type plants that are set up in every village or block, not every village, but in every block or several in every block, so that the transportation cost is not very high. And there is a linkage that's already established through either long-term contracts, etc., between farmers and the consumers of this stubble.
Last year, we were told that, there were people who were buying up this stubble because they wanted feed for their animals. Because last year there was a little bit of drought-like situation in certain areas. But this year we don't find that sort of demand cropping up. Is that right, sir?
So there are 2 points here. One is a lot of the non-basmati paddy variety has very high silica content. So not all stubble is suitable for cattle, right? Now, having said that, in some of the districts, we actually have tied up with even gaushalas to see if they can utilize the stubble. And that is indeed happening. So 2 messages: not all stubble can be utilized as cattle feed. Number 2, again, it's where possible, we are trying to build those linkages where gaushalas and others can utilize the stubble.
And one final question. Like Deloitte India is working with other states also for various programs. Like, for example, if I can say, Deloitte India is working with the Uttar Pradesh government to ensure that the state touches a particular income by another 2026 or 2025-26. Now, from the lessons learned from this, do you plan to extend this to, say, Uttar Pradesh or Punjab? Because these two are the other 2 main culprits. Besides, Madhya Pradesh also is becoming another problem. So what exactly are your plans on this front?
So our plans are, as you rightly mentioned, Haryana will need to continue to be focused on even next year, because it takes 2-3 years for it to become, a well-functioning machine. Our intention is to do a pilot in Punjab next year. So we are working with the state government there to see if there is a location we could do the pilot at, number 1. And number 2, we'd also like to extend this to states such as Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. We've had preliminary conversations, but we don't have an MOU in place, but that's the intention. The intention is to make this, so we build this for the nation. It is available. We are going to make it available to all the states at no cost. So to that extent, the platform itself is something that we'd like the states to utilize.
A lot of details and a lot of insights into what really is happening with regard to tackling stubble burning. So thank you very much for the enlightened views. We hope to catch up with you further development soon.
Indeed.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure, and hope to continue to be engaged with yourselves. There's a lot to learn in this program. It's been a humbling experience for those of us who are urban dwellers like me coming from Mumbai. It's been great to see both the spirit and the challenges that farmers face. To be able to assist them in any way we can has been a very fulfilling experience. So hope to keep that up and look forward to the support from you and others.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.